We continue with the appraisal of President Arroyo's performance ahead of her final State of the Nation address scheduled on July 27th.
Tonight, our resident analyst, Professor Winnie Monsod, grades the President according to the goals she set for her administration, summed up into the slogan, "Beat the odds." Rhea, has she done just that, or were the odds stacked against her?
Last week, we compared the performance of the Arroyo administration with previous administrations in the areas of economic growth and poverty alleviation. And we determined from data published by the National Statistical Coordination Board that while the country's economic growth did much better under Arroyo, poverty did not dramatically decline in her time, and as a matter of fact, increased between 2003 and 2006. What we're going to do now is we're going to examine her goals that she set for herself as organized into the slogan, "Beat the odds." B, the balanced budget. In this aspect, the Arroyo government must be given a grade of 100. The original target for 2007 was a budget deficit of 2%, and its actual deficit was only 0.2, or 0.2%. And last year, 2008, it kept its budget deficit on track. Next in Beat the Odds is E, education for all. This is broken down, by the way, into A 100% net participation rate, meaning to say everyone of school age is in school. That's the most important. The other sub-goals are 3,000 school buildings a year being built, and C, a computer put in every high school. Have these been accomplished? At the elementary level, net participation rate, or the proportion of the number of enrollees 7 to 12 years old to population 7 to 12 years old for school year 2003-2004 was 81.72%. By the way, in 2001 to 2002, that was already 97%. Anyway, it means that to achieve the target of education for all, this percentage must rise by 18.28 percentage points in 6 years to reach 100% by school year 2009-2010 as envisioned. How much has it risen? For 2008-2009, the DepEd reports an elementary net participation rate of 85.12%. In other words, in those 5 years, it only increased by 3.4 percentage points when it should have increased already by 15 percentage points. The President, therefore, has accomplished only 19% of her target, so she gets a grade of 19 in this examination, a dismal failure. This comprises 80% of her grade for education. The other 20% would come from the other two targets, school buildings and computers. With respect to school buildings, it was determined that the more appropriate target would be in terms of classrooms, assuming an average of 3.3 classrooms per building, which is what the statistics show. Then you need 10,000 classrooms a year. Well, the total number of classrooms built as of June 15, 2009, amounted to 68,888 classrooms for a 115% accomplishment rate. And so I will give her 115% for this particular goal. With respect to one computer in every high school, I talked to Paul Soriano of the Department of Education to get the data, and it turns out that it is not just one computer in every high school, but one computer lab composed of 11 computers, 10 for the students, 1 for the teacher, in every high school that they are trying to achieve. And the latest data show that 4,019 out of 6,650 high schools already have their computer labs, an accomplishment rate of 60%, with another 650 schools in the final bidding stages and 325 schools that have already started the bidding. Not only that, Director Soriano also reported that the 2009 budget includes the money for the computer labs for the rest of the 1,631 schools that still don't have these computers. And he is positive that by the end of this school year, 2009 to 2010, all public high schools in the country will have been equipped with computer laboratories. So, for computers, I think the grade should be 100%. Aggregating these grades and giving them their proper weights, 80% for the elementary school participation rate, 10% each for the buildings and for the computers, you get a weighted average of 36.7% grade for education. Now for automated elections. That elections as targeted in that beat the odds will no longer raise a doubt about their integrity is a target that is impossible to achieve, given the tendency of politicians to insist that they lost because they were cheated. So we're not going to grade on that. But the target that the election process will be computerized was definitely achievable, particularly because the election computerization law was first passed in December 1997. It was intended to have been accomplished in 1998 or at the very latest in time for the 2001 elections. I would put her grade as 50. Why? It can go either way. Then we go to T for transport and digital infrastructure. Under this transportation target, the Arroyo administration aimed at linking the entire Philippines through a nautical highway. For expert judgment, the Western Nautical Highway is 100% complete, so she gets 100% for that. The Central Nautical Highway is 80% complete. Now, for the digital part of that infrastructure target, she gets a grade of 25%. Why so low? Well, simply because we do not have as yet our digital highway completed. And why is that? Because of ZTE and all this controversy that came about because of the corruption involved in the bidding for that project. So putting that all together, her grade for transport and digital infrastructure is 90 plus 25 divided by 2. She gets a grade of 57.5%. So that takes care of the beat part of beat the odds. In part 3 of our pre-SONA analysis next week, we will take care of the odds part. And also next week, we are going to give the final grade of the Arroyo administration according to the goals that it set out for itself. Meanwhile, this is Winnie Monsod on Q.